Our not a guest speaker today is Reverend Ray Anders. What exactly do you believe? I believe that I am not going to introduce Reverend Ray to you formally. Because, you know, I can give you lots of facts. But first of all, you can ask him after the service. And I think that what does it give us to learn how many degrees he has or where he was born? I think that Amy just introduced him. He's the way of God. So please, welcome Reverend Ray.
I'm saying because it gives you, because we should know this by now. When Ray says, how are us? We have to know how to respond. So let's jump in. How are you today?
Great.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you. So, and I'm glad that you're feeling great because today is going to be one of those days. And when I say one of those days, you know how sometimes, you know, Ray gets up here and he says some stuff and, you know, it's a little uncomfortable or whatnot. So, yeah, today might be one of those days. And the reason being, oh, Terry's happy about that. And the reason being is, so originally this message had a certain direction, right? And, you know, ministers, practitioners, you know, we pray, we meditate, and we vision and stuff to prepare for whatever it is we're going to do. Yeah, so I did that a couple of weeks ago when I had to send or give it to Tracy so she could send it to Amy. And then I met a couple of family members at McLean Family Restaurant, and we dined and fellowshipped over cold grits and eggs, mostly mine because I was running my mouth as my food got cold. And the direction of the talk changed. So, it didn't change a lot, but it did change. And the reason being is because what I realized is a lot of us come here, not just Celebration Center, but CSL or other New Thought places, because it feels good, but not because it's changing our thinking, to change our consciousness, to change our lives. Ultimately, if we're not going to combine and live from this place of, like this trinity of thought, word, deed, and for me, it's a three-dimensional pyramid, so there's a fourth aspect: thought, word, deed, and feeling. If we're not really moving from that place, CSL is going to die. It's going to close because we're not being about this teaching. Now, why would that be? Because those of you who are here, so on some level, you know, there's this resonance of we believe thoughts are things. But do we? Do we really believe that? Because if we believe it, wouldn't it show up in our lives a little bit differently? Now, there are two ways we can look at things that we believe: secularly or spiritually. Which one do you want me to ask you questions about first? I'm giving you a choice. You don't get one of these too often.
Secularly.
Secularly, thank you. So, secularly, things that we talk about and things that we believe. Do we believe? No, I'm going to change that. I'm going to ask you this, and you don't have to answer it. Think to yourself. When I say this word, what is this word in meaning to you? Don't answer it out loud. Think about it. Diversity. Inclusivity. Welcoming. Affirming. What do these things mean to you in terms of your belief system? Now, a couple of days ago, for those who are friends on Facebook and those who subscribe to my daily email thing, I may have you either read or saw. I did a Netflix marathon the other day where I watched 4 documentaries back to back. And one of them was called Endgame, which was about 4 families, 4 individuals approaching their end of life. One was from a more medical point of view, and one was from a more spiritual point of view, referencing the Zen hospice that these people were at. So I'm going through my mind, what do I believe about this? Because as a minister, I'm always, and Tracy will tell you, I'm always watching movies, television shows, etc. from some metaphysical point of view. All the time. She gets tired of it. But it's all the time. So I'm watching this, and as a minister, I'm asking, what if someone came to me, one of my congregants or someone came to me in this place? What would I say? What would I do? So then that one goes, and then I watch, I can't remember the name of The Rachel Divide, which was a documentary about Rachel Dolezal, the former NAACP president who was dethroned because it was found out that she's not an African American woman. So I watched a documentary about her. Wow. And it makes me start asking, what does it mean? Because they asked folks, what does it mean to be black? What does it mean to be African American? Are they the same thing? Or are they different things? And most of what many of the people, the African American people who were against her, were saying was, she doesn't know our struggle, therefore she cannot claim to be one of us. To which I ask, is being a person of color only about struggle? Because if the struggle was not, would I not still be brown? Would I not still be whatever, black or African American? Would I not? So then what does this actually mean for me? And then I watched a couple other documentaries, one about Tesla, and I watched a bunch of documentaries. And all through all of these, I keep asking myself, what do I believe? Because whatever it is that I believe, I should be living that. Spiritually, we talk about things in CSL, Science of Mind. We have the 11 we believes, and one of them says, we believe that heaven is within and we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Do we really believe that? Or is it a nice platitude that we love to say and read at the beginning of the magazine? Or do we really believe it? Joel Goldsmith says that one of the things that slows us down in our spiritual progression is that we have these old consciousness and beliefs and paradigms about whatever, and what we do is we try to lump the new stuff on top of it. If anybody in here is a Christian in your former life of somewhere, you may have heard parables about putting new wine into old wineskins. Same concept. How many people, try to cover up the scent of the cat or the dog in the house? But no matter how much you spray, to someone who knows, you have a cat, don't you? You have a dog, don't you? You can smell, through all the roses and lilacs, and I can still, because we can't cover. And yet we try to cover and cover and cover and cover. And yet the very meaning of the word discover means to uncover, not to find. Because we love discovery being about, I'm going to go and discover a new me. And it's not about discovering a new you. Discover, to uncover the real you. We say in CSL all the time, there is nothing to heal, only truth to reveal. So if someone is going to disrobe, take it off. Disown, move away. Discover. There it is. But we don't tend to do that because it's not comfortable. We don't like having difficult conversations about anything. Race, politics, gender, sexual orientation, any of that stuff. We don't like conversations about that. One of the other documentaries I watched was called Jules Catch One, which was about one of the, if not the, most famous nightclub in the world, specifically catering to people of color in the LGBTQI community. And the woman that created this was black, a lesbian, at a time when racism and homophobia were oh so high and prevalent, where you could still get arrested in California for being gay. And she opened this nightclub. Someone set it on fire. She heard the firemen as they were leaving saying, we should have let this burn down. Then the AIDS crisis hits. And police are coming there and they're not wanting to touch folks in the whole 9 yards. And yet she persisted. In the face of adversity, sexism, racism, and homophobia, she had all three of those to encounter. All three of them. But she had this belief system that said, I have to know who and what I am, and more importantly, why I'm here. If I know why I'm here, then I don't, what did Nietzsche say? When you know your why, you'll figure out the how, or the what, my paraphrase, the when. All of this stuff will come. But we don't generally know our why. So, when we talk about what do you believe, there were several songs. I jotted a couple of lyrics down. Sorry. God is light, love, life, power, peace, and beauty. And so am I. Do we believe that? It's great to sing it. But if all we're doing is singing this beautiful song, and then we leave out those doors, and this is not embodied, then how are we any different than the Sadducees and Pharisees that Jesus reprimanded? Speaking of that man named Jesus, I got a question for you about him. Because I got into a conversation about this as well. What do you believe about Jesus? He's in the Science of Mind. Holmes mentions him many times. Do you believe he was a real man, or is he only symbolic, metaphoric, metaphysical in representation? Not saying either is right or wrong. I'm saying for yourself, discover what this means to you. And if real, then what did the miracles, what were they? Were they actual miracles? Did he break bread and fish and feed multitudes? Did he raise the dead? Did he heal the blind? Did he do these things? And if only metaphysical, allegorical, metaphorical, metaphysical, then what do the miracles represent? So you see, either way it goes, it's applicable to us. How do I take these actual lessons and apply them, or these spiritual lessons and apply them? Because if we're going to say, God is all there is, one, do I believe that? Do I believe that God is in, through, and as everything? Because if I do, then when I'm throwing something away, should I do it with a different level of honor rather than just throw it away? Should I have gratitude that it served its purpose before I put it into the trash? Maybe. Should I change the way I look at everything that I do as a spiritual practice? Because if God is all there is, then I have to be it. And if I am it, then everything I am doing is God doing it. And if God is washing the dishes, how could washing the dishes be any less sacred or holy than saying a prayer or meditating? But we think of these everyday functions as human things. They're not spiritual, they're not divine. But if everything we are, from the top of our head to the soles of our feet, from here to every quantum particle and wave, is the I am, then how could it would be God showing up in, through, and as Ray, washing God, showing up in, through, and as plate, using God, currently under the name of Palm Olive, to, like, it's all God. Like, at what point is there a separation? One of the other things that I talked about, and I don't think I knew who it was when I was having brunch with the family, was I talked about this story that Ram Dass tells about Hanuman. Hanuman being the monkey god in the Hindu tradition. And he's having this conversation with Ram. And Ram says, "Monkey, what are you?" And Hanuman says, "When I do not know who I am your servant. When I know who I am you." When I know who I am. Period. I am. When I know who I am. Am I willing to uncover any belief that I am holding that is convincing me otherwise? I know that several weeks ago, Reverend Sunday did a workshop here about the shadow, and Reverend Faith, and I don't know when it was, but she spoke about some of the things she discovered about herself that she now knew were no longer true. And she gave a list of, I know that I am not this. I no longer believe this about myself. And what we know is nature, spirit, life, doesn't like a vacuum. It's one of the reasons why when people who have addiction try to stop the addiction, but they didn't address the reason the addiction showed up in the first place, they're going to fall right back into the addiction. Because, boom, no addiction, but there's a space. Got to put something in the space. So if I'm going to take out all of this, with all of the things that I no longer need, that no longer serve me, then I need to fill the space now with what I want to grow. You know, we talk about in Science of Mind, we have that wonderful chart at the back of the Science of Mind book in the appendix where we liken thought to a seed, and the law to the soil, and life to the bloom, the flower. Seed, soil, flower, or plant. Everything we're thinking is a seed of some sort or another. What are those seeds? Because Einstein said, to continue to do what you are doing, well, this is how Einstein speaks in my mind, so leave me alone. To continue to do what you are doing, while expecting, he's very Shakespearean, while expecting another outcome is insanity. If I am a gardener or a farmer and I am putting a seed in the ground and it's, oh, this is parsley. Oh, I can't wait till those tomatoes grow. What did you just say you put in the ground? They're parsley seeds. And what did you just say you're waiting to grow? Tomatoes. Wake up. But is that not what we're doing? Are we not enmeshed in and immersed in this philosophy and this teaching, and yet, when a practitioner is praying with us, somewhere in us, there's an itching, there's a separation, I can't fully embrace what's being said because there's a part of me that doesn't believe it. There's a part of me that doesn't really believe that I am worthy. And to go to that place that doesn't believe it, I'm going to have to face whatever that is that's uncomfortable. Metaphorically, I have to come out of the spiritual closet. I have to step out and be willing to take whatever is going to come. From my own personal life, I knew I knew that when I was finally getting on this path of new thought, I knew family and friends who were going to step forward with their, you're in a cult, you're in this, and it's devil worship, and it would have been so easy for me to simply, oh, yes, I'm a Christian. It's a denomination you're not familiar with. It's practical Christianity. Not to say that yours isn't practical, but it's practical in a different way. Like, it's easy for me to sidestep and just play cute because I don't want to face what's going to happen. Ridicule, judgment, harassment, all of that's going to come from family and friends who I've known for years. But then the question is, suppose you're in a hospital. And anybody in here watch Code Black television show? So did you watch it recently? Okay, so no spoilers. Okay, so let's just put it this way. If you are in the hospital and you're young, and the only thing you've ever known was illness, and now say you're 20 and someone discovers that this can be cured. Matter of fact, there's a television show about a young lady, I don't know what it's called, where her doctor says, you're cured. You don't have whatever it was that she had. And her life changes. She was living her life as if, yes, this is going to be the last time I do this, and the last time I do this, and the last time I do this, and there's no point about, let's get married, because we're not going to last, because I'm going to die. And she's like, oh, now I'm going to live. So we shouldn't get married then. Like things change. A lot of things change. The way people treat you changes. But are we willing to stand for what we truly believe in a way that is not knocking on doors? Hello, my name is Ray, and I'd like to offer you a Science of Mind magazine. Not saying that. What I'm saying is, when you knock on your neighbor's door and ask for a cup of sugar, your neighbor should see the Science of Mind on your face. They should hear it in your voice, just in the way that you say hello. The person in the store, there's a Reverend Jim Lockhart has a book called The Beloved Community, which I'm currently reading for one of the classes that I'm required to take for my affiliation with CSL. And which I bought the book long before I even knew I was going to need it for the class, because it's an amazing book. And if you haven't read it, I strongly suggest you read it. But in there, he challenges us to develop what it means to develop a beloved community, which is based upon the idea of changing our paradigms and our consciousness. And one of the things he says in there is that we have certain levels of communication that are sort of perfunctory, where it's like, hello, how are you? I'm fine, and you? And then we go about our business. And he challenges us to break up the pattern. So when you go to the Shoppers or Target or wherever you shop, look at the, and he doesn't specifically say this is my translation of it. Look at the cashier in the eye. Read the name on the badge and address them by their name. Carolyn, how are you today? They're not used to it. And then say something that you have a wonderful week. Because they're, thank you for shopping at Target, have a great day. And then the next person rolls forward. It's a conveyor belt of customer service. Stop the conveyor. Look at them. Show them that you are that which is divine, who knows who and what you are, and see it in them so powerfully that they begin to see it for themselves. They won't know what it is, but something will change. But if I go shopping and all I can be, because of what I believe, is I'm Ray, and that's all. I'm black, and that's all. Like, I can go through the list of, if that's all I am, then that's all I'm going to see. There's no way for me to look at another person and be able to acknowledge that that which you are is God. And being God, everything that you are is love in expression. That the very step you take is making music on the ground that you are stepping on. Because everything about this universe is magical and amazing. Even when we see discord. Fine, there's discord. But what did we notice about discover? Uncover it. Discord. Bring the chord of harmony and resonance and alignment back to the world. Why do we look at this as if it's somebody else's job? Because we believe it. Well, it's the politician's job and responsibility. Well, it's the minister's job and responsibility. It's somebody else's thing to do. I'm in the right place at the right time. Just where I'm supposed to be. If that's what you believe, then everything that comes before you, just like in an ER, if a gunshot wound comes before me in the ER, then I'm in the right place at the right time. Just where I'm supposed to be. Not because some anthropomorphic deity somewhere else said, yes, Ray and Amy, you are in the right place at the right time. Just where I have so ordained you to be. No. But we are there by divine appointment because we, being the I am, have declared it to be so. When we bless a space that we know is already God, we're not really blessing the space. We are simply acknowledging what we know to be the truth. When I call the walls blue, am I making the walls blue? Or I'm acknowledging what they are? It's a big difference. So if I'm acknowledging, I'm in the right place at the right time. Because there is only the now. And it's just where I am supposed to be. Because that which God is, that which I am, that which Yeshua said when he said, when you have seen me, then you have seen the Father who sent me. Of myself, of my humanness, of my Ray self, black self, male self, of all this, I can't do anything. Because that self is limited. That self is bound by the color of its skin, by its gender, by its height, by its weight, by its eye color. It is bound by that. But there is that part of me that is the exact same as everyone in this room. The I am. That God presence. That divine oneness. And when we are thinking and feeling and speaking from that place, does it not have to show up in our doing? The things that we think show up. Our beliefs show up. I've said this before. When it snows and there's ice on the ground, do you or do you not change the manner in which you walk? Meaning, I know there's ice on the ground. Going outside. Who does that? Oh, there's ice on the ground. Tiptoe through the tulips. Because we don't want to fall. Because we have a belief about ice and my feet when they meet. Kaboom. That's going to meet the ground. It's my belief system. And it changes what I do. So since I don't want to do that, I get the shovel, I get some salt, and I sprinkle it and throw it, and then I go about my business. It's based upon what I believe. What we believe has no choice but to show up in who we are, what we do, how we move throughout this life. So the challenge, the invitation is to really sit back and ask, what do I really believe about everything? Do I believe that this is whatever I say it is? Do I believe that this is whatever it is I believe that it is? Do I believe that I am whatever it is that I say I believe that I am? Exactly. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. There's a, and I'm going to end on this one. There's a, since you put that up there. Anybody see the movie Man of Steel? Okay, so thank you. I got one superhero fan in the room. Thank you. So there's a scene where Kal-El receives a message from Jor-El, his father, basically. And the idea is, and I'm paraphrasing it, the idea is, what if a child dreamed of becoming something greater than society expected of them? Like, what if? Because society expects, history has shown, what has society expected women to do? Pretty much nothing. Stay in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. That's what society has expected. But what if we as a culture and society, we've expected more? Women vote. Women run countries. Women are billionaires. Women are the Dora Milaje in Black Panther. Women are powerful because we have changed our expectations. Do we have the government that we have because that's what we expect? Is CSL as an organization what it is now because that's what we expect? The world over, the rumor is that religious organizations across the planet are dwindling in numbers. But I've said this before, and then I'm really going to end. If you knew that CVS had a pill that cured everything from athlete's foot to cancer, everything from a dirty house to a hangnail to a zero balance in your bank account. Take the pill and it will change the order of things in your life that CVS would be overrun with people. If we believe that this philosophy heals and transforms and does what that pill says it does, then what's up? Let's pray. Drowning ourselves in that thing that is the divine breath, the divine and holy Ruach of God, Ruach Elohim, the divine breath of the One, breathing itself in, through, and as each and every one of us. We need not search for the